Welcome back to part 5 of MPIT in plain English. Let's continue. The recursive collapse that won't end until you let it happen. The worst part isn't the discard, it's what happens after, what happens in the mind, the never ending loop. From the second you realize they're gone, really gone, something inside starts to unravel. It's no longer just sadness or shock. This is existential. Your body goes into panic. Your mind starts replaying the relationship like a movie you can't pause. The difference is every frame hurts. You think about everything they said, everything they didn't say, the good moments, the terrible ones, the hope, the confusion, the silence. You're desperate to make sense of it, but there's no resolution because you were never the author of this story. The mind starts to turn on itself. You start realizing something terrifying. Your mind is no longer your own. It's reacting, spinning, scanning, trying to find them, not in reality, in your head. This is where the narcissistic introject takes over. That's the version of them that now lives inside you. It was installed over time through the love bombing, the control, the manipulation, the shared fantasy. But now it's turned on you. That internal version of them is no longer charming or seductive. It's cruel, dismissive, contemptuous. It's cold. It repeats their words. It watches your thoughts. It punishes your hope. This is reflexive collapse. It's not about them anymore. It's about what they installed inside you. You become the persecutor and the persecuted. Inside your own head, two things happen at once. You beg for them back. You punish yourself for wanting them. This is inverse reflexivity, when your own mind uses their logic to beat you up. You're having conversations with them in your head. You're defending yourself. You're explaining. You're pleading. You're also attacking yourself using their voice. You now see why the Hall of Mirrors is so brutal. You can't tell what's them, what's you, what's truth, what's trauma. Every reflection leads to another. There is no exit unless you stop trying to win. The internal war. 5 ego parts in conflict. Here's the hard truth. You are no longer just one self. You've split, and each part is fighting for control. The false self-protector is trying to hold it all together. The redeemer ego believes it can fix this if it just tries harder. The mute child is overwhelmed and silent. The truth self is trying to scream, but can't be heard. The narcissistic introject is running the whole show from the shadows. This war is invisible to the outside world, but inside it is chaos. Every part of you is overactive. Your body shakes, you can't sleep, food makes you sick, your thoughts race, then stop, then race again. You start to wonder if you're going crazy, but you're not. You're experiencing collapse-induced psychotic regression. That's when the mind regresses into earlier developmental states, usually triggered by unbearable symbolic loss. You're not losing your mind. Your mind is trying to save itself the only way it knows how, by going backwards. This is the real grief. Forget the 5 stages. This isn't denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. This is all of them at once, and none of them at once, spinning, exploding, looping, dying, and being reborn. This is grief at the level of your nervous system, your soul, and it doesn't come in a neat line. It arrives in a tidal wave that never recedes. You cry, then rage, then feel nothing, then cry again, then laugh in horror, then disassociate, and then obsess. You may think of hospital. You may even go. Many survivors do, but you can't explain what's happening because even you don't understand it. You've been living in a simulation. Eventually, something darker settles in. You realize you haven't been living in the real world for a while. You've been caught up in a psychological simulation. Not their world, yours, replaying, reliving, hoping, arguing, breaking, fixing, imagining, collapsing, all inside. Years go by, you look up and everything has changed. People died, children grew. You weren't there, not really, because the real you was stuck in an internal orbit, spinning around the idea of someone who hasn't thought of you in months, years, maybe even a decade. That is the collapse. This is the inversion. You are no longer chasing them. You are chasing the version of you that existed when they loved you. That's the part you're addicted to, the glow, the meaning, the story. But that version of you wasn't real. It was based on a false self that was built in their image. And that's what has to die. And that's why it's so painful. Because the collapse you're experiencing isn't about them leaving. It's about your mind trying to kill off a version of yourself that was never truly you. Let's bring a final word in here. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're undergoing a psychological collapse that most people will never understand. But it has meaning. Every death of the false leads closer to the rebirth of the real. Let it collapse. Let it fall. That's the only way you rise. Peace out. Loads of love.